Welcome to Whispering Cabins, where we share cozy horror tales of ghosts, folklore, and forgotten places. So grab a blanket, light a candle, and settle in. The night is waiting. Tonight, we tell the story of the Bell of Hollow's End. Maple Hollow was a sort of village where autumn seemed to settle in earlier than anywhere else. The leaves flamed red and gold by late September, and the air carried the faint smell of wood smoke and cider. People decorated their porches with pumpkins. Children pressed apples at the harvest fair, and life rolled on at its comfortable, predictable pace. All except for one night a year. On Halloween at midnight, the bell tower at the edge of town always rang. Just once. One deep, resonant toll that shivered across the fields and lingered in the bones. No one knew why. The tower itself had been abandoned for generations. It was a square of crumbling stone, ivy creeping over its sides, its peaked roof sagging. The wooden stairs inside had long rotted away. No one had been able to climb to the bell chamber in living memory. Yet every Halloween, without fail, the bell rang. The townsfolk had grown used to it in the way you grow used to an old scar. They'd pause, bow their heads, and then carry on with their Halloween revelry. Some claimed it was a leftover from the town's founding, a warning bell against spirits. Others insisted it was a trick of the wind, but no one dared investigate too closely. No one, that is, except Clara Hawthorne. Clara was Maple Hollow's librarian, a woman fond of warm sweaters, black tea, and puzzles. She had always loved the strange traditions of her hometown, but the unanswered question of the bell itched at her like an unsolved riddle. So, that Halloween night, while the rest of the village gathered in the square for cider and ghost stories, Clara walked the path to Hollow's End Tower with a lantern in hand. The grass whispered under her boots. Above, the bell hung silent in the dark. Up close, the tower looked even more ruinous. The stones slick with moss, the windows gaping like empty eyes. But as she circled the base, Clara noticed something curious. The ivy had been carefully trimmed at the door. Recently, her lantern light caught faint footprints in the dirt. Someone had been here. Inside, the air was cool and damp, smelling faintly of metal and candle wax. Clara raised her light, expecting rubble, but found instead a narrow spiral staircase, new, sturdy wood, built within the shell of the ruined tower. Whoever had placed it there had done so quietly. Her pulse quickened. She climbed. The stairs creaked under her weight, carrying her up into the shadows until she emerged in the belfry. There, in the lantern's glow, she saw the great bronze bell, green with age, and beside it stood a figure. It was an old man, tall and lean, his hair silver, his clothes simple but neat. He held a rope in one hand, as though waiting for her. His eyes, dark and strangely kind, met hers without surprise. "You shouldn't be here," he said softly. Clara's voice wavered, but curiosity steadied her. "You ring the bell." He inclined his head. "Every year. But why?" "No one knows who does it, or how. People have wondered for decades." The man looked past her, toward the fields bathed in moonlight. "It is not for the living to wonder. The bell is not rung for you." A chill brushed Clara's skin. Then, "Who is it for?" The man's gaze returned to her, and for a heartbeat, she thought she saw something vast behind his eyes, like the depth of a night sky. the ones who pass through, he said. Every year, on All Hallows' Eve, the veil grows thin. The bell calls them home, just for a moment, a sound to guide them, so they do not forget the way. Clara swallowed. The dead. He neither confirmed nor denied it, only rested his hand gently on the rope. They listen. You've felt it yourself, haven't you? That stillness when the bell fades. The air is heavier because they are near. Clara thought of her grandmother, who had passed when she was a child. Each Halloween, when the bell rang, she always felt the urge to look over her shoulder, as though someone were standing there smiling softly, waiting. You've been doing this alone, Clara said. Not alone, he replied. With them. He gave the rope a gentle tug, and the great bronze bell stirred. And with whoever comes after me. The sound rolled out, low and solemn, shaking the tower walls, sweeping over the village below. Clara closed her eyes. In that moment, she could almost hear faint laughter, footsteps on fallen leaves, voices just beyond the veil. It was not frightening. It was achingly gentle, like remembering a lullaby long forgotten. When she opened her eyes, the man was gone. The rope hung still. Clara descended the stairs in silence. By the time she reached the village square, the bell's echo had faded. The townsfolk were still gathered around the bonfire, sipping cider, unaware that their tradition had been less mystery than vigil. Clara said nothing. She only stood quietly at the edge of the crowd, lantern in hand, her heart heavy with wonder. The bell of Hollow's End rang each year after that, and though no one ever saw the silver-haired man again, the tower door never grew over with ivy, and the stairs never rotted away. Some nights, Clara swore she heard faint footsteps on the climb above her, as though someone else was preparing to take up the rope. And so the bell continued, as it always had. One deep toll to part the veil, to guide the wandering souls home, while the living listened, never quite knowing why their hearts ached so sweetly in the sound. Thank you for joining us tonight at Whispering Cabins, where we tell cozy horror tales. If you enjoyed The Bell of Hollow's End, be sure to subscribe for more eerie stories. Until next time, keep warm, keep the lantern lit, and listen closely. Sometimes the shadows have stories to tell.